My boy, the Kraken, Juan Adams. What's going on, my man? How did your day pass by?
Pretty good. Just got off of work, so I'm relaxing at home before I go work out early in the morning. So it's been a day.
There we go, my man. Working as a teacher, right?
Yep.
Nice. You were doing ninth grade. Now you're seventh grade or still ninth grade?
Yeah. He's seventh grade reading, but I do the small group. So the guys that are the people that are behind, I kind of bring them up to speed.
Heck yeah, man. I was talking about this topic with a friend of mine the other day. Just like I grew up. I was born in '94. You were born in '92, right?
Yeah.
Juan? I was wondering, like, we grew up with 50 Cent in the music culture and like YouTube, Kimbo Slice, right? And I guess it kind of developed like a chip on our shoulders a little bit, right? And you're working with younger kids nowadays, inner city kids, right? How
Mhm.
do you think culture, music influences them nowadays? And do you think there's a difference? Depends on the person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, music. I mean, whatever culture you're involved in is always going to impact you to a little bit. Whole nature versus nurture thing. But I think since music is so readily accessible now and so many different people can put stuff out there, it doesn't play as big a role in it as much as, I think video games and just, music does play, like, obviously your top hits are gonna play a role in it. But also kind of what's propagated by society, and what's really encouraged. And there's definitely less of that like edginess to kids now. They try to be edgy. Like every kid goes through their edgy phase.
Yeah.
It's just different now. It's very different.
Seventh and ninth grade, like junior high, high school, early years. I feel like guys they go through that edgy phase big time, right? Uh, and I feel you on what you're saying. Now you kind of choose what you want to listen to, right?
Hmm.
Although I guess there still is mainstream. Like mainstream music right now isn't so much 50 Cent. I guess it's a little different, but at the same time, young people are still listening to what they want to,
Right.
right? Um, cool. So you'd say it just depends on the person, what they're listening to, etc. Which I guess brings me into your childhood and what were you like in junior high slash high school? And like, did you have an edginess to you, or were you go with the flow, easy kind of going guy like you are nowadays?
I've always been kind of like go with the flow. All of my edginess was more like reserved for sports because it just like, really wasn't encouraged in my household. And then I was always so much bigger than everyone. I always had to kind of shrink myself down, and I never wanted to really stand out.
Mhm.
Um, Now, once I got to high school, like, yeah, there was some edginess there. I was just like, because I guess by that point I had just been so go with the flow. People would always screw with me, and I was tired of it. So I was like, look, I'm just not gonna take anything from anyone anymore.
Oh shit.
And it was cool. Like nobody really bought. Like they messed with me a little bit, and then after like 10 fights, people kind of got the message. Like, all right, yeah, this
Were
guy
these
will
high
fight you.
school fights, Juan?
Yeah,
And junior
they
high?
were high school, so
Nah,
they were like, okay,
nice.
this
I
guy.
mean, kids back then, they're just so they love teasing, right, and bullying.
Right.
Yes. Were you fighting back then? Boxing
No,
or?
I was on I was on the wrestling team, but I was just like a big guy that played sports. And but then kind of like by my junior year I chilled out a little bit. Like it was still like, hey, if I say stop, like we're gonna fight if you don't stop. But um yeah, those were my edgy years. Even somewhat in college too. It was like I was pretty easygoing, but like you knew when I hit my point, and if you didn't respect it, like we were gonna have problems. So
Don't cross my
um
boundary.
yeah, but now it's just like I get paid to fight, so it's gonna take a lot to make me do it for free. Like I'll slap you real quick, like I'll like check you or embarrass you, But in terms of like actually like throwing down with somebody, I mean, because you slap somebody, they're either gonna stop or it's a fight, you
Or it's a
know. And
fight.
so
Yeah.
yeah, most
Butterfly
of
at
the time,
that point.
yeah, most of the time people are like, I don't want that problem. So
Yeah.
you
Not with
know,
a big man like yourself, that's for sure.
yeah.
That's good. That's good stuff. 10 fights during like your childhood. That's a big number. I'm not
Yeah,
surprised.
it was all my freshman and sophomore year. After that, I didn't really get into fights.
Uh,
So
wow. Uh, all, victorious in all 10 KOs and submissions. Like you are
no, there was one. I was fighting like a junior, and they said that one was like a tie. Like my people said I won, his people said he won, but all the other ones, yeah, they weren't close.
nice, nice man. That's cool. That's cool. So you grew up. You kind of had that chip on your shoulder. You were a tough kid. You know, you had certain boundaries, and then you got to college. You're definitely a smart kid. Like I'm guessing you had pretty good grades, uh, somewhat to get into
Yeah,
college, and then right, you tried to balance it all, and then you made it into you almost went NFL if I understand correctly.
yeah. So like I had a tryout. The Colts called my coach like right before I graduated, and were like, oh, so they sent me. I went to found this spot in Houston where a lot of pro football players trained, and I loved the workouts. I just didn't like doing football stuff. So it came down to it, and I was like doing their testing, and I was just like, they eventually wanted me to like wait another year, and I was like, no, I'm good. I don't want to do this. Like,
Yup. I played a little bit of football myself. Good stuff. Good stuff, Juan. Sorry, I'm freezing up a little bit. I'm in Poland right now. You're my second talk I've done. My first was Rashad Evans, uh, and yeah, I'm still learning. So if you could bear with me, soldier.
no worries.
uh, all right, Juan. Let's get to fighting and mindset. I'm gonna start it off with a difficult question. When I ask this, it could come off maybe a little bit mean, but I'm hoping it will help me and us, the viewers, better understand you, the extreme emotions of the sport, and how we can all learn from your experience. Ready?
Hmm.
So, you coming up, you being such a go with the flow, easygoing type of guy. You're smart. I've watched a lot of your talks and interviews over the past weekend. We found out we're talking late last week, right? And like you come off as a super kind-hearted and overall genuine guy. Can you take me back to what you were feeling the day when you fought Greg Hardy? I know that fight meant a ton to you emotionally because I know you really didn't like that guy. And have you ever had uh, that that much emotion attached to a fight, and what that moment in your career meant to you?
Yeah, oof, I really wanted that fight for a lot of reasons. One, it's kind of a guy that accomplished a lot of the things that I wanted to accomplish. He had more money than me. And then I look and he's kind of given an opportunity that so many other people had worked much harder for. But at the same time, like that's the only fight I've ever really carried emotion into it because obviously of his history.
And
Uh,
you guys knew each other of each other, and before that fight, did you guys grow up in like
no,
a similar community or something?
it was, he had done a funny interview one time in NFL before I knew about all his other stuff. And I
Mhm.
thought, "Oh, that's kind of funny." And but then When I found out the rest of that stuff, a lot of people don't. But like when I was 6 years old, the guy my mom was dating came in and, he put his hands on her. And me being 6, I tried to fight him, but there's not much I can do. It was me and my 3-year-old brother, like trying to get this guy, and
Mhm.
not much two kids are gonna do against a grown man. So, um, you know, going through that, I was having that emotion going through me, and then on top of it was all the other stuff of like, I knew if I had won that fight, it could have really propelled me into stardom and got me bigger fights and restructured my contract, and it really would have changed my life. So there was a lot riding on that, but I went into it for all the wrong reasons, and I did things to get that fight that I wasn't proud of. Taking it to social media and doing all that. It was a very different point of my life. Um, I did a lot of things for external validation and stuff like that, and I wasn't really as sound in myself. I wasn't really as at peace with myself as I am now. Well, so there was a lot of emotion going on. There was obviously anger, there was jealousy, there was just a whole lot going on. But those were the two biggest things. After that, it was when I lost. I just felt that like all my fans would abandon me. I felt I was gonna lose everything. I never thought I would recover from a social standpoint from that. And
Because you
that
hyped
was
the crap out of that fight up with your community and all your friends, the people closest to you. Yeah, I can imagine that must have. When I saw that video when you like were just so you wanted to get out of that cage right after that fight, I was like a little bit like putting myself in your shoes. I was like, shit, like I could tell that really hurt. Like that was like a heartbreaking moment for you, and
yeah,
like just
and I lost my biggest sponsorship after that fight. I lost a lot with that fight, and then that was kind of the beginning of the end for the relationship I was in at the time. So I had a lot of stuff outside of fighting that related to that fight, weighed into that fight and everything, and it hurt a lot, and when my mom being dead at the time, like I was like, this is one of those moments where she would really be proud of me, and that's really what was going on a lot going into that, and it didn't work out. So ultimately, it was a catalyst for a lot of growth for me. It was a catalyst that moved me out to Albuquerque. It put me in the desperation mindset of like, well, I got to win my next fight or they're not going to re-sign me. So I
mm,
moved out to give myself the best chance at winning. And even though I still lost, I grew a lot from that, and I made Albuquerque my home. Like I went from living a pretty nice lifestyle out in Houston to a studio apartment in a gym in Albuquerque, and it was a lot, but it also taught me, really what it was I needed to be happy, and it made me kind of redefine a lot because at that point in my life, I was confusing adoration and
you
external
almost
validation for love, right?
yeah, and maybe because like tracking it, you were just on a tear. You were like on top of the world, like just 3 years into your career, you're or maybe a little bit more at that point. But you were really like hot, and you probably felt on top, and then you felt like you were doing a righteous thing, fighting someone that kind of represents not good, right, and something that represented like evil in your life, and at like such a critical moment when you're like on top, to suffer defeat and a major setback like that, um, that made you kind of like it shook your foundation. I feel like,
Right.
yeah, but it's also what sent you to train in New Mexico, right? Sent you into the desert, and uh, there, like, you went on a tear, like a killing machine after that. You fought like a ton within a short amount of time, just knockouts left and right, submissions, and and then you're at where you're at now, which is this point where probably preparing for your next PFL season, right? You did good this first season, right? And
Yeah.
uh, you're still young. You're 30. I mean, there's UFC fighters that are older, and you're always learning, and you've got so much potential in you, and you do have like something energetic. You're the freaking Kraken. So uh,
Yeah.
I feel like you still have an incredible story ahead of you. Uh, and I'm sorry I kind of took the conversation away from you midpoint there, but
You're good, man.
am I wrong in how I'm interpreting and understanding what you?
No, no, that's very accurate, and that really took a lot out of me. And I knew I still wanted to fight. It's just that at that time I kind of, my passion wasn't really in it anymore. And even after I lost the fight after that and subsequently didn't get re-signed to the UFC, I took like a year off, year and a half off. And just really focused. I kind of had to fall back in love with learning the different aspects of the sport. I, found my purpose in helping children again, and that's really when things started working. And when I found that balance and really found my purpose again, and now all I want to do is, get better and be the best I can be at this while still serving the communities that I serve. And, that just kind of reframing and getting back to my core, which is, compassion and help for other people. And that's what I'm working for.
I believe that things don't happen, like coincidentally, and I feel like life is a little bit magical, and like I'm just listening to that, like your story. If now you do surmount a comeback within like the next 3 to 6 years, like that is such a hero's journey and like great story. You just experiencing that, facing that big defeat, and then teaching and like financially, it's probably not the easiest, right? Like after facing that setback, and but like having a good heart, giving helping kids and then mounting a comeback within like shit. If you did it within like this next 3 to 6 years, that would be so crazy, right?
Right.
Um, and yeah, uh, I would love to see that, which um, kind of leads into my next question. But before I do, I wanted to see what you think about that and your thoughts on, I don't know, life is magical.
Yeah, no, and I'm not one of those people that thinks, I recognize that some things just happen. Not everything happens for a reason, but I do divine timing or universal timing, as some people like to call it. But I feel that when you are living in your purpose, things just kind of work out for you. And maybe those losses are a part of what's going to make my fight story that much better. I don't really know, but I do know that even in my defeats, I've been able to help people. There's people that see me lose and see me talk about it, and then they reach out when they face setbacks in their own life. And I've helped a lot of people get through a lot of really dark times based off of my own experience of those.
Hmm.
And maybe that's what we're supposed to learn from it. I don't really know 100%, but the journey is still ongoing, obviously. But I just have to have faith in myself that, and continue to believe that I didn't do this by mistake. So
Hmm. I agree. I agree. That's a great it's great out. That's a great attitude to have, and attitude is so damn important in that cage and in life, right? And like just looking at some of the content and like the smart things you talk about and write. Um, you definitely inspire not just kids but people, and like help people get a better mindset on things. Um, so let's start plotting the comeback for you, Juan Adams, the Kraken. We need the Kraken on top. How do we do it? How do you come back within the next 3 to 6 years? Like, who would you love to face out of the like top heavyweights, either in the PFL right now or in the UFC? Like, do you see yourself one day in the future standing toe to toe against the likes of Ngannou, Stipe, John Jones potentially, right? Um, Taikui Vasagane. There's a lot. Do you think about that? Could you drive some motivation from that?
Right. I don't really think about it anymore, man. It's like I'm at a point now where I just kind of have to take what is given to me. Like I don't lobby for fights anymore. Because that's a part of my life, but it's not everything. When that consumes me, it doesn't put me in a good place mentally. So like, do I firmly believe that I can beat anyone in the world? Yes, I do believe that. I believe that when I'm in there and like I'm not distracted or worried about other stuff, or if any given day they could be distracted, worried about something else, and I had not in there, like any of those moments could happen, and I feel like I always have a good chance of winning. So I just have to be confident in my own preparation, which also means I have to do the work. And I was saying this the other day on one of my YouTube videos. It's faith works when you've put in the work. It's not something you can just have blind faith in things and just hope things work out without doing anything for yourself. Even in the Bible, God helps those who help themselves, right?
That's right.
You have to help yourself in order to be able to reap the benefits of the blessings or the opportunities that come your way. So that's kind of just where I'm at, just being as prepared as I can be and doing the best I can to develop not just as a fighter, but really just as a good person, as the person that I want to be, my higher self or my highest self. I try to always act in that. And obviously there's a balance. Like I fuck around a lot too. I love bullshit.
Crash off.
Even with these kids, like they'll start like joking, and I start roasting them. Like we go back and forth all the time.
Heck yeah.
But and then it's also human to make mistakes, so you got to give yourself grace in those mistakes. Recognize that you're not always going to handle everything perfectly, and when you don't, you have to learn from it and just try and handle it better the next time. We all have flaws. We all have different traumas that we're working through. So I try and meet everyone I can with some level of kindness and grace. Obviously within limits. I'm not gonna let you walk all over me, and then
Yeah.
that's when we have problems. But it's all about growth at the end of the day, and just living in a state of acceptance. And I'm accepting of whatever happens. How we turn things around is obviously I just have to be as prepared as possible. I would hope that they bring me back for next season of PFL. I win that tournament a couple times, and then I go and I found a school. That's what I want to do. Is I want to give back and help people.
That is a cool goal, cool outlook. Uh, Speaking of the how and you putting in the work now, what are some things that you think people, up and coming fighters, or people training, that what are some things that people should take note of or notice or invest their time into to that you're seeing become valuable as the sport evolves?
The biggest thing I think is since the sport's evolving now, is we're at a really cool point where there's so many people out there that have done what it is each of us are trying to do. You got to reach out to those people and really utilize them. You know, I like to surround myself with people that have accomplished more than me in some sense of life. And I want to learn from them so I can, one, learn from their successes, but also their mistakes. And I don't want to repeat the same mistakes that they've made. So I listen, and that's a really big thing. And people have this idea that practice makes perfect, and that's not true. It's perfect practice makes perfect. You have to do things the right way. Don't just go in there and hit a bag 1,000 times with shitty technique, because you're not going to gain anything from that. You're not going to grow. And that's with everything. So not just putting in the work, but doing the work the right way.
Mhm. What about getting into like even deeper tactics? Like watching some of your fights, I noticed that early on in your career, you became pretty good at both southpaw and what's
Orthodox. Yeah.
orthodox. Yeah, real quickly on in your career, which I feel like is not super natural for a lot of people. Maybe at the highest caliber that you're fighting on, yes, but what's your 2 cents on that?
I got good at both of those because I had a Thai boxing coach at the time that was really big on making both of them.
Okay.
And my wrestling stance is a right leg lead. So I learned how to move with a right leg lead from wrestling.
Ah,
Uh, then I tried to focus just on orthodox more so because I want to get really good at one thing as opposed to being just kind of okay at multiple. So, but it's a learning thing, and if you've got the time to do it, there's this old saying like 10,000 hours of preparation is what it takes to make something perfect, right?
oh
And
yeah.
that once it got to a certain level, like I just didn't have the time anymore to do both. But if you really want something, you'll make the time. We all have the same 24 hours in the day, so it's how you utilize it.
That's so true. And just like the importance of that, like Lomachenko, he's someone that's naturally right-handed, right? But he like him and his father as a young kid put in that 10,000 hours in Southpaw, right? And so now
Right.
he's fluid in both. And I feel like that's rare. Maybe like everyone knows how to do it, but to be very, very like a master of it is very rare. Um, and like yeah, I watching you do that in some of your fights, uh, like I just took note of it. And I was like, whoa, like he jabs him and then he's out with that foot and he just creates a whole nother layer of distance. At least that's what it feels like to me. I'm definitely not,
Yeah.
I fought like not 10 times in high school, but I had like 4 or 5, couple broken pinkies, bad
Yeah.
form. And now I train a little bit, but very casual, right? Although I do love the sport, and I'm a big student of the game, and obviously doing MMA talk, so uh, that's cool. That's cool. Besides for like tactics in the sport, are there things that you're doing differently outside? Like, for example, Jan Blachowicz. I know he meets with Wim Hof, and he like just upped his his breath hold up from like 3 minutes to 4 minutes, which is cool. And then we're seeing people like Jiri Prochazka that are freaking coming out and screaming on top of mountains and swimming in rivers and hitting trees 1,000 times a day. Is there anything different that maybe you're implementing outside of just? I saw one interview where you're like, I'm super clean. Like, I don't even like taking protein shakes. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
go
do. I
ahead.
do a lot of mindset work, mental work. Uh,
Visualization and
yeah,
like performance
not the
statements.
visualization, but just working on resolving reasons why I fight and the reasons that I would have anxiety around losing. A lot of that stuff. So it's a lot of therapy, a lot of mindfulness work. Really into my spirituality now, but outside of fighting, I don't really think about fighting all the time. I am more concerned, helping other people and really feeding the other aspects of my personality and my character. But in terms of just fighting, I do a lot of mindset work and just thinking about the own mental blocks I have, circulating performance and the attachment to outcomes and things like that. And So I meditate. I walk a lot, do a lot of walking, and then
Mhm.
I just help other people. I coach whenever I can. Whoever needs help, I give that to them. And really, it's just cleaning up. I had to change my lifestyle. I used to walk around 295, 300. And before I would walk around like 305, 315. Now I'm walking around between 270, 280.
Nice.
Just keeping my weight down, really being mindful of what I put into my body. I don't drink as much now. My
Less
sugar
Kraken rum going in.
a lot less, a lot less, a lot less sugar, a whole lot less sugar, and just little things like that. As you grow and as you get older, you change some of those things anyway. But just cleaning up what I eat a lot has helped a lot, and that it all has ripple effects.
100%. Yeah, diet is just so critical. Uh, have you heard of the Liver King by chance?
I've heard of them. I don't subscribe to that. Like it's just
It's wild. It's wild.
for some people, it won't work for anyone else. I couldn't do it, so I don't do it, and I don't even pay attention to it honestly.
100%. One thing that he like talks about that I think is valuable is his 9 ancestral tenets, which is sleep, eat, and the eat one is like tough, right? Eating raw liver, eating raw bone marrow, whatever. Move, connect, shield, cold, sun, fight, bond, right? I've I've been implementing those into my life, and I do something similar to you with the like having a asking myself every day, why am I doing what I'm doing? Like, I I have every morning I wake up and I have this question written down and I just answer it to myself, and that definitely helps align your purpose and just like gives you a lot more of that oomph when you're doing things. You're not just like,
Right.
I'm doing it, I'm punching that bag 100 times, right? Or 1,000 times, but not doing the right form. When I'm punching that bag, I'm doing it like, fuck, I'm punching that bag. I'm like trying to just get the most out of life. Well, it's so short, and I'm just, and I'm sure you're getting similar effects by meditating and uh,
Yeah.
doing that stuff. That's cool. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a rant there.
All
Cool, man. Mr. Adams, what about PFL versus UFC? Do you like, dislike? Like, can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, I didn't really dislike anything about either of them. With the UFC, it's cool. I love the staff. I love working with the staff. The fan turnout is amazing, right? The fan support is amazing. Um, for the for PFL, what I love about them, same thing. The staff, they really treat you like you're one of their own. They really look out for you. For me, anywhere I go, I try and make everyone's life easier when I'm there. So, I have my concierges. I don't ask them for much. It's most of the time I'm asking where I can get X, Y, Z, and I go and I'll grab it myself. The
You seem like
travel,
such a pleasure to work with.
yeah, they're both like so accommodating, man. The travel accommodations, and it's so simple. You just do what you're supposed to do, what's asked of you, and they make your job pretty easy there. So I have no complaints about either one of them. With the UFC, obviously, well, any major promotion, it's hard to fight as frequently as you want to. So you have to prove yourself to be a commodity, make yourself an asset, and then
Mhm.
you get the opportunities. So no complaints about either of them. A lot of them, it's you get out what you put in.
Yeah. PFL, it's kind of like shit. You got to make the most out of the like opportunity you have, or else you got to wait a whole year, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's like that amps up the intensity, right? Uh,
Definitely.
yeah, it's interesting. PFL is coming up, and I definitely have my eyes up on them. I like the system and the framework that they have set up for it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Uh, Juan, who are you training with nowadays?
Out here, there's Dontel Mays, Davion Franklin, Christian Edwards, and then, there's other like not really big name heavyweights here. Joel Bauman, he's a middleweight, but he's a really good wrestler. Come on in, bro. He's a
If you
really
need to
good.
run, Juan, by all means, cut me off. Say, Tom, I gotta go.
Oh, yeah, please, thank you. No, so I'm just just working with those whoever's in the gym, and then Coach Wink is my striking coach. Greg Jackson, I go for my ground and pound grappling, and then Joy Villasenor. Those are my three coaches here, and then I've got my coach back home, Jeremy Laughlin, who does all my jiu-jitsu. So, just just I work with whoever's available. Really, I like training, and then Team Turning Point does all my strength and conditioning. So.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, that's what's up, man. Um, Juan, I mean, what is there anything that you'd like to talk about? I know you mentioned that you have a YouTube channel that you are. Yeah, if you could tell me a little bit about it. I haven't found it. I did research on you for 3 days, 4 days.
It's just you
Yeah.
go on YouTube, type in Juan Adams. It's there's but it's really just a vlog right now of just me talking about random stuff. I go on my Instagram and I say, "What do y'all want me to talk about?" I don't even have a lot of views. It's not really looking to get monetized
Dude,
anytime.
YouTube is so hard nowadays, Juan. It's
I
so
just like it's there for whoever it resonates with, and if it can help somebody else going through similar stuff, or if my perspectives shine some light on anything for anyone, or gives you some, hey, that's not how I want to handle it, then go for it. It's just me talking about stuff. My first one was processing a loss. The next one talked about a family member having cancer, and how to like cope with that and be present for them, and just random stuff. I think I've got like 4 videos.
intelligent, deeper stuff. Like I,
Yeah,
that's good. We need more of that in
yeah,
this world right now, man.
yeah,
That's cool. I just found it. You're looking jacked in that profile pic. Uh,
yeah.
heck yeah. So yeah, I'd love to see you continue that, and um, I know you have a really cool apparel that's found on your Twitter. We'll link that in the description. And what else, Juan? What else? Is there anything you want to touch on, or topics, messages you want to send?
Nah, I mean, just don't give up. It's easy to get caught up and feeling like you always more, and you always have to keep going. Try. It's important to take breaks in life. Take a pause, breathe, reevaluate things, and then move forward. For anyone struggling with depression, I struggle with that too. After my last fight, I got to a really dark place, really low place. A lot of stuff hit me all at once, and I really,
Mate's shuffle fight, right?
yeah, and I had a lot of thoughts of self harm for about 2 weeks. I got myself out of it, but I also relied heavily on a lot of other people. So that's just part of life, man. It's not doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you less than, not want to be here anymore. You just figure it out, cope with it, process, therapy, do whatever it takes. It's different for everyone, but so I just it's stuff like that. The stuff that I talk about on my YouTube, but getting
You're
through it. We're all just trying to make it, man.
all just freaking trying to make it, man. That's so true. You're such a warrior of light. Uh, yeah, to build on what you just said, there's no point in staying in yesterday because we're all different people now. It's cool to reflect on it and see, but do not stay in the past. Like, the pages before us are blank, and we can still change that. If you're going through a dark time, it's just a stormy fucking week, day, month, right? But sun's right around the corner sometimes, so got to keep fighting. And thank you just for your time, for your positive message, and sharing those tougher moments with the world and talking about them. A lot of people don't have, the opportunity, courage, or whatever it is. Like you are doing amazing things, Juan. Thank you one more time. It's 2 a.m. I'm out here in Europe, so I stayed up real late for this. I know I'm a little energetic. Had a lot of teas.
No worries, man. No worries.
But yeah, you're the man. I'd love to stay in touch with you, Juan. If you ever want to hop on again and talk, just reach out. And my goal here right now in the next coming weeks, months, is to grow the MMA Talk show, which is going to be like a sister company of MMA Talk, sister channel, where we do talks and things like that. But enough about myself. Thank you, Juan Adams, the Kraken. Let's write that Cinderella story, that comeback story.
Sure, man. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you much. Have a great afternoon. Take care, boss.